Well, it's could say a pretty good start for the Calgary Hitmen to start off the 2019-20 season. However, expectations are a little higher this season, as it's time for another episode of. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome to the latest episode of my Calgary Hitmen in 6 here. This will be episode 2, season 2, and special on the road edition here, as I'm here in Belmont, BC during the 2019 Thanksgiving weekend here, as I did actually go away on my fall foliage trip here, and just to get away from the city there for a couple days and enjoy some scenery. And so far it's been a little gray and gloomy, but it actually feels like autumn up here in north central British Columbia, as opposed to all the snow that we've gotten in Calgary. However, I guess it could be worse if you're in Manitoba right now, so hopefully everyone's doing alright there. But anyway, I might be on the road here and taking a little break, but being a sports fan here never takes a break here. And let's take a look at the first 6 games of the Calgary Hitmen in the 2019-20 WHL season here. And as maybe we say from the preseason here, with many players returning here, expectations are a little higher for the Calgary Hitmen. And looking at the CHL standings here, or rankings here, they're taking notice too that this team's expected to do amazing things this season. So let's bring up my notes here and let's recap how the first 6 games went. And I'm going to say the in between, it was pretty good. The beginning and the end for this 6-game segment, depends how you slice it here. So let's bring up my notes here. And also I'm going to mention here that this upload is going to be delayed here, as it's not going to be a couple days until I'll actually upload it, because when you're on the road, Wi-Fi is not as fast here, and I'll wait till I'm home before I actually will upload this. So this will be delayed after a couple days of recording it here. So anyway, let's start the first 6 games of the Calgary Hitmen here. So they opened up the regular season game 1 on Saturday, September the 21st. The Calgary Hitmen were taking on the Swift Current Broncos at the Innovation Credit Union Nightplex, 7 p.m. puck drop here. And with the Kootenay Knights moving to Winnipeg, they did a real realignment here, is that the Kootenay Knights used to be in the Central Division. Now they're in the Eastern Division here. So the Swift Current Broncos have moved into the Central Division. So this is the first time the Calgary Hitmen are taking on the Swift Current Broncos as division rivals here. And this is also the first game for the Calgary Hitmen, as I mentioned. And they did outplay and outshot the Swift Current Broncos here early here. However, it was the 14-minute mark that the Swift Current Broncos actually scored first, as Carter Charney did score for the Swift Current Broncos here. However, just before the 18-minute mark, Carson Fook, the draft pick for the Vancouver Canucks, scored. So it was 1-1 after the first period there. Second period, it featured a penalty shot, as Ethan Ringer for the Swift Current Broncos scored on the penalty shot early in the second period there to give the Swift Current Broncos a 2-1 lead here. And that's how the game stood. After 2 periods there, it was 2-1 Swift Current here, despite the Calgary Hitmen being the better team overall here. And then it wasn't until there was literally 18 seconds to go in the third period there, when Igor Zamula, who is a property of the Philadelphia Flyers here, tied the game to force overtime here. So the Calgary Hitmen finally persevered and paid off here. And then it was 2-2 going into overtime here. Overtime, it was back and forth here. However, a couple sequence of plays happened late in overtime here that sealed the fate here, as one of the off-season acquisitions that the Calgary Hitmen made, and Jet Wu, the defenseman who's also property of the Vancouver Canucks here, was part of that big trade with the his Moose Jaw. He took a penalty late in overtime here. That was 6 seconds left to go in the overtime period. However, Swift Current was able to score on that power play with a second left here, as Jona Kirvarani took the shot and scored, and Swift Current took a 3-2 win here in overtime here with a second left here. So the Swift Current Broncos actually stole the first game of the season here for the Calgary Hitmen here. However, I'll tell you that Calgary outplayed them, is that the Calgary Hitmen outshot the Swift Current Broncos 36-22 overall. But Swift Current actually had a 5-3 advantage in overtime there. It's a 3-on-3 overtime, and then if you have a penalty, it goes 4-on-3 there, because you need at least 3 players on ice in hockey there. So, like I said, the Swift Current Broncos took the first game 3-2 in overtime here. Carson Vuk was the only player that stood out for the Calgary Hitmen here with a multi-point game with a goal and assist there. And then Carl Stankowski was in net for the Calgary Hitmen, made 19 saves, while Isaac Puche for the Swift Current Broncos made 36 saves here. So not necessarily the start that the Calgary Hitmen wanted here. However, the next 3 games were next weekend here, starting with Game 2. This happened on Friday, September the 27th here. This was the home opener for the Calgary Hitmen. It was against the Edmonton Oil Kings, 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here. And this was their home opener for their 25th season here for the Calgary Hitmen. And they unveiled some silver jerseys for their silver anniversary here. I actually did personally plan to take this game in, but fortunately things don't always work out here. Well, I wish I did take this game in, because it turned out to be one heck of a game here. However, in the first period here, and actually if you go back to look at all my videos from season 1 and even in the preseason here, it's apparent that the Edmonton Oil Kings have the Calgary Hitmen's number here, and it showed in the first period here as the Edmonton Oil Kings actually had a 2-0 lead here in the first period here by scoring at the 7 and 13 minute marks here. So it was 2-0 there for the Calgary Hitmen here. However, going in the second period here, Calgary did strike back as Josh Prokof, the brother of Luke, scores at the 12 minute mark, and then James Malone scores at the 17 minute mark of the second period there. So the Calgary Hitmen got back in the game in the second period to tie it up at 2-2. However, the Edmonton Oil Kings went ahead with a last-minute goal in the second period, I should say. So they took a 3-2 lead going into the third period there. So Calgary Hitmen was down 2-0 after the first period there. Fought back in the second period there. However, Edmonton did get a last-minute goal there. So it was 3-2 for Edmonton after 2 periods there. However, there was a little spark they could maybe contribute to come back in the second period there, as Hunter Campbell for the Calgary Hitmen did fight David Cope, and Cope for the Edmonton Oil Kings also took him Sconda for hit from behind here. So the Calgary Hitmen, as they hear his name a few times here, is relying on Hunter Campbell to provide a presence for the Calgary Hitmen. Similar to a player that I'll mention when you look at my Calgary Flames series on another player that we acquired in the off-season for a presence to justify the moves that we made here. However, Carson Vuk for the Calgary Hitmen came to rescue here in the third period here, as about the midway mark of the third period. Ties the game up at 3 here, and then that's how the game stayed. So for the second straight game in this young 2019-20 WHL season here, we're going to need some overtime here. And in overtime here, this time the Calgary Hitmen were on the right side of the game here, as Carson Vuk once again pots in the overtime winner and takes this game 4-3 for a nice, well-deserved win over the Edmonton Oil Kings here. So the Calgary Hitmen won 4-3 in their home opener here, and the Calgary Hitmen also outshot the Edmonton Oil Kings 37-24 overall here. Each team only had a shot in overtime here, including Carson Fuchs' one shot we needed for the winner here. And who led the way for the Calgary Hitmen here? Well, Carson Fuchs, he had 2 goals and an assist here for the Hitmen. And James Malm also had a 3-point game with a goal and 2 assists here. And then also a couple players with multi-point games as Josh Prokop and Igor Zamula with a goal, or Josh Prokop had a goal and assist here, and Igor Zamula had 2 assists here. Edmonton was led with a couple multi-point games by Jack Neighbors and Josh Williams. Each had a goal and assist here, and Riley Sutchuk had a 2 assist game there. And then when it comes to the goaltending here, Jack Manhattan, he was in net for the Calgary Hitmen, local guy. He made 21 saves, while Todd Scott, the Edmonton Oil Kings, made 33 saves here. So the opening weekend, first full weekend for the Calgary Hitmen at home, is looking good here. So game 3, the next night here on Saturday, September 28th, the Calgary Hitmen go up the road halfway to Red Deer to take on the Red Deer Rebels. Their arena is now called the Western Park Centrium. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop here. Second game in second nights here. Very common on hockey road trips here. And Igor Zamula for the Calgary Hitmen, the defenseman there, opens the scoring past the 4-minute mark. However, Dawson Barteau ties up for Red Deer 3 minutes later, so 7 minutes into the game here, it was 1-1 here. However, Calgary then takes the lead by the Toronto Maple Leafs draft pick, Charlie Stotts, scores a go-ahead goal in the midway mark of the first period there. So the Calgary Hitmen had a 2-1 lead after the first period there. So things were looking good and early for the Calgary Hitmen here. Second period featured no scoring, but dominated as well, especially in the third period here. Once again, Hunter Campbell, he danced with Jackson Weeb of the Red Deer Rebels there to provide some energy there. That's the only thing I can highlight out of the second period here, because as I mentioned, there were no goals here. However, in the third period here, Harley Stotts continued scoring with 2 more goals for the natural hat trick here. The second goal that he scored in the game actually came 9 seconds in the third period, so a quick goal in the third period there. And then also midway mark of the third period there, so it was 4-1 for the Calgary Hitmen. Natural hat trick meaning that you score 3 goals consecutively there, so he scored the second, third, fourth goals for the Calgary Hitmen there. And then Lane Totter added to the Calgary Hitmen lead to make it 5-1, and this is how it finished. The Calgary Hitmen went up in Red Deer with a 5-1 score here, and the Calgary Hitmen really outshot the Red Deer Rebels 33-16 here, including outshooting them 13-2 in the third period there. So that's what meant how we were really dominant there in the third period here. So Calgary, also special teams was very special here, as they got 2 goals in the power play and scored 1 shorthanded in this game here. So goaltending for the both teams here. Chad Naughton was in net for, he only needed to make 15 saves here for the Calgary Hitmen. Byron Fancy for the Red Deer Rebels made 28 saves there. So that's looking good now, is that the Calgary Hitmen have now won 2 games in a row after losing that first one in overtime there. So game 4 is happened on Sunday, September 29th, so 3-game weekend here. This happened back at home in Calgary at the Scotiabank Saddledome. 4 p.m. puck drop here, and it's, you know, Sunday fun day, family Sunday fun day, if mouthful say, how the Calgary Hitmen call it here. First one of the regular season here, and I'll say this one to summarize overall before I get in the whole summary here, is that it was a tight game overall here. And once again, I'll highlight that Hunter Campbell, he definitely had a very active weekend. Fought again for the Calgary Hitmen. This time he fought Ryan Shisnowski for the Medicine Hat Tigers 2 minutes in, but Hunter Campbell also took a unsportsmanlike conduct there. And then after that, Calgary actually got on the board by Adam Kidd. Scored his first goal of the season here at the 17-minute mark, so late in the first period there. So the Calgary Hitmen were up 1-0 after the first period there. Second period featured no scoring. However, I'll give a slight edge to the Medicine Tigers on outplaying the Calgary Hitmen and the shots there. However, Adam Kidd, once again in the third period, scores at the 3-minute mark to make it 2-0 for the Calgary Hitmen. And that's eventually how this one game ended. It was 2-0 for the Calgary Hitmen. So Carl Stankowski in net for the Calgary Hitmen picked up his first shutout with 33 saves here. While, as I said, the Calgary Hitmen did outshoot the Medicine Tigers outshot the Calgary Hitmen 33-30 here. As Carl Stankowski made all 33 saves for the shutout here. And then made Sogard for the Medicine Tigers. He made 28 saves for Medicine Hat. He also had a strong game, but there was no offense for the Medicine Hat Tigers here, so the Calgary Hitmen swept this weekend set here. So now Game 5. This happened on Sunday, October the 6th, a week after not being on the ice here. We were taking on the Portland Winterhawks at home at the Squishmink Saddledome, 2 p.m. puck drop, another Sunday fun day for the Calgary Hitmen here. So return to the ice after a week off here, and in this game I can highlight that Mark Kastelik. He returned to the Calgary Hitmen after he was with the Ottawa Senators franchise. I know that he was on the junior or the farm team here before they sent him back to junior here. So Mark Kastelik is back with the Calgary Hitmen and will be team captain as well here. And how this one started off here is that Igor Zamula puts Calgary on the board with at the 4-minute mark for his third of the season, but Jack O'Brien ties it for Portland 31 seconds later here. So in the first 4 minutes of this game here, we had 2 goals in 31 seconds here. However, Jet Wu, a couple minutes later, scored his first goal as a Calgary Hitman there, and then Orca Weisblad also scored. So Calgary was up 3-1 by the midway mark of the first period there, and that's how it ended after the first period. It was 3-1 for the Calgary Hitmen here. Second period, the Calgary Hitmen added to the lead here as Josh Prokop scored to take a 4-1 lead, and it was 4-1 for the Calgary Hitmen going into the third period here. Into the second period there, also on a highlight, or in the second period, Mark Kastelik for Calgary and Reese Newkirk took sportsmanlike conduct penalties right at the end of the second period there. However, Portland Winterhawks did actually press hard in the third period to get back in the game here, and Seth Jargis actually scored to cut into the lead. So it was 4-2 Calgary, about the midway mark of the third period there. And then with the extra attacker, goalie pulled for Portland here, it was Ty Carrier for the Calgary Hitmen who actually put away an empty net to win their 4th straight game with a 5-2 win over the Portland Winterhawks here. And the Portland Winterhawks had a slight edge in shots here as they outshot the Calgary Hitmen 33-29 there, including when they were out shooting the Calgary Hitmen 13-5 there in the third period there. So that's what meant that they were pressing hard there in the third period here. 4 Calgary Hitmen players actually had a goal and an assist here. It is Igor Zamula, Jet Wu, Ty Carrier, and Orca Weisblad all each had a goal and assist there. And then Seth Jarvis was the only Portland Winterhawk with a goal and assist here for the multi-point game here. So when it comes to the goaltending here, Jack Manhattan gets the win with 31 saves for Calgary, while Joe Huffer made 24 saves for the Portland Winterhawks here. So the last game for this 6-game segment to open up the 2019-20 WHL regular season here, Game 6. This happened on Saturday, October the 12th. The Calgary Hitmen were up to QE2 to take on the Edmonton Oil Kings, this time up at Rogers Place, 7 p.m. puck drop. So another Battle of Alberta to this young season here. And, first period, things were actually looking really good for the Calgary Hitmen here as Igor Zamula at the 6-minute mark and Carson Fook at the 17-minute mark. Both scored their respectively fourth goals of the season for the Calgary Hitmen. And the Calgary Hitmen were actually up 2-0 after one period here. However, things did fall apart here for the Calgary Hitmen in the second period here. As I'll say, they definitely got into some penalty trouble and paid the price here, as within 9 minutes of play of the second period here, the Edmonton Oil Kings scored 3 goals, and next thing you know, it was 3-2 for the Edmonton Oil Kings midway through the second period here. Carter Souch started to score for the Edmonton Oil Kings, followed by Riley Suchuk and Ethan McIndoe started the dominance here. However, Mark Kastelik did actually score his first goal of the season for the Calgary Hitmen here on the power play. But at the 18-minute mark of the second period here, also on the power play, actually all goals in the second period were all on the power play here. However, 4 of those goals went to the Edmonton Oil Kings. So at the 18-minute mark on the power play, the Edmonton Oil Kings were up 4-3 here. And that's how it was after 2 periods of play. It was 4-3 for the Edmonton Oil Kings. Big turnaround after it was 2-0 for the Calgary Hitmen to start here. Also note here, this is Battle of Alberta here. Adam Kidd took a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for checking to the head in the second, and that led to one of Edmonton's power play goals, the second power play goal of the period there. So we definitely got into some penalty trouble there in the second period there. So going to the third period here, after Edmonton scored 38 seconds in by Carter Souch, which at that time was his second goal of the game, Sean Tessier of the Calgary Hitmen kept us within it by scoring at the midway mark of the third period there. So it was 5-4 Edmonton midway through the third period there. However, Carter Souch, he put this game away by scoring his third goal for the hat trick with the empty netter in the final minute of play to make it 6-4 for the Edmonton Oil Kings, and that's how this one ended, as the Calgary Hitmen lost their first game in regulation in 2019-20 with a 6-4 loss there. The first loss happened in overtime here, so I'm going to say, all things considered, in this 6-game segment here, they won 4 games, lost 1 in overtime, and then lost 1 in regulation here. And then when it comes to the shots here, well, the Edmonton Oil Kings once again showed that they have our number. I need more bigger sample size before I say that trend has changed, as the Edmonton Oil Kings outshot the Calgary Hitmen 32-23 here. The only Hitmen with multi-point games is Igor Zamula and Carson Fook. Each had a goal and assist here. However, Edmonton was led by Carter Such, who had 3 goals there for the hat trick. Ethan McIndoe collected a goal and assist with Liam Keller, Matthew Robertson, and Connor McDonald. Not to be confused with Connor McDavid. Coincidentally, Edmonton has 2 Connor hockey players with a McName. Each had 2 assists here. So when it comes to the goaltending here, Jack Benon was in net for the Oil Kings to face all 5 goals. Made 26 saves in the loss there. But he did pick up an assist there, so he made the scoring sheet that way. Well, Todd Scott, he only made 19 saves for the Edmonton Oil Kings there. So yeah, I'd say it was a pretty good 6-game segment here with, 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 overtime loss here. But mentioning that expectations are a little higher here is because the latest CHL rankings have the Calgary Hitmen ranked number 5 in the country here, and actually the highest rank of the WHL teams. The Calgary Hitmen are actually ahead of the Prince Edward Raiders, who were the finalists last year in the World Cup. They are 6th, and the Edmonton Oil Kings are right there, number 8 in the country here. And then we'll give an honorable mention to the Moose Jaw Warriors. Actually, the Calgary Hitmen started this season in the first CHL rankings as an honorable mention, but the team that's ranked number 1 in the country right now is the Oshawa Generals of the Ontario Hockey League here. And then also I should mention in this 6-game segment here that the leadership group, It's consisted of Mark Haslick as captain here, and then you got 4 players that'll rotate wearing assistant captains. Dakota Krebs, Jet Wu, Riley Stutz, and Carson Fook are all going to be assistant captains just throughout the team here this year. And then 2 more players are going to be on the NHL's preliminary scouting list. It is goaltending Jack Naughton and defenseman Luke Prokop. We're on the Central Scouting preliminary list to watch for the 2020 NHL draft here, so that's something to watch for as the season progresses and see if their stock rises. They're both given B grades right now. So the last part of this video here is let's look ahead to the next 6 games for the Calgary Hitmen, which will be episode 3 here, and that episode will be recorded back home in my old headquarters here. So looking ahead here, Game 7 will be on Monday, October the 24th. The Calgary Hitmen will be at home taking on the Saskatoon Blades. That'll be a 2 p.m. puck drop on Scotiabank Saddledome here. So most people generally have their Thanksgiving dinner on Sunday there. So maybe, some people go out and watch some junior hockey right after enjoying their Thanksgiving dinner, or maybe having it before. So that's Game 7. And then Game 8, this will be on Friday, October the 18th. The Calgary Hitmen will be at home taking on the Moose Jaw Warriors there. That'll be a 7 p.m. puck drop here. And then Game 9 will be on Sunday, October the 20th here. So the Calgary Hitmen will all be taking on the Medicine Tigers at home. That'll be a 2 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome before they go on the road here. That's Game 10. This will be on Friday, October 25th. The Calgary Hitmen will be on the road to take on the Moose Jaw Warriors at Mosaic Place there. And then Game 11 will be a very unique situation here. Is on Sunday, October 27th here. The Calgary Hitmen will be on the road taking on the Regina Pats here. However, this game will be played at Mosaic Stadium. 2 p.m. puck drop, the outdoor game. So the Calgary Hitmen will also be taking part in the Heritage Classic festivities here, as after the Flames and Jets play on the game on Saturday here, the Hitmen and Pats will be playing an outdoor game, similar to the 2011 Heritage Classic here, that when the Flames took on the Montreal Canadiens for the feature game. The next game, actually the Calgary Hitmen took on the Regina Pats in the outdoor game, and I had the opportunity to take in both of those games here, and maybe the Calgary Hitmen will seek revenge from Regina beating us late in, because back in 2011 there, the Regina Pats won 3-2 there late. It was a late goal in the 3rd period there. So let's see if the Calgary Hitmen will spoil their home game for the Regina here, but we'll talk about that in the next episode here. And then Game 12, the Calgary Hitmen will be back home the next night on Monday, October 28th to take on the Seattle Thunderbirds at home at the Scotiabank Saddledome for a 7 p.m. puck drop. So a rare, a rare weeknight game, because a lot of these more games that the Calgary Hitmen play are actually on the weekends here, and makes it a lot easier for me to take in some games here. So yeah, this is my Calgary Hitmen at 6 here. This will be episode 2, looking back on the first 6 games here, and I say the Calgary Hitmen are definitely looking good right now, and maybe worthy of that heightened expectations here after they accomplished here last year. So if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, I recap sports here, but speaking of being on my fall foliage trip, there's definitely going to be plenty of videos that I actually captured when I did all my sightseeing here. So that'll be another part of my YouTube channel, as well as do personal vlogs and throw in a attempt to comedy videos here. If that sounds like everything I do, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to follow along here. And as I say, I'll see you in the next video. Let's go Hitmen, and let's continue these winning ways, and we'll see how the second season goes as I recap the games, and will we have a better season we did last season? And so far it's looking good, so I'll see you later.